shot, but it goes the other way.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit older than you.
And I'm not touching this topic. I'm not touching it.
Yeah. Mediocre, mid-table, rabble.
So I just want to be able to talk as much
If you
crap.
play a night game, he has to turn the bloodlines on.
No one would have believed that he would keep his job for as long as he had. But
The Wednesday Week.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. It's an extraordinary special podcast. Yes, it's not Monday evening, it's a Friday evening. And like I put on Twitter earlier, we don't do these for good news very often, do we? So tonight I'm joined by Stevie and John and Molly. How are we, guys? Obviously a stupid question. You're happy as can be, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like Christmas. I'm absolutely buzzing, mate. I cannot believe it. And do you know what? You're good, aren't you, Mol?
Yeah.
You're happy. Yeah.
I found out in school, actually. One of my teachers told me.
Well, that's it. That's what you want, isn't it? That's what you want. John, how are we?
Yeah, absolutely delighted. It's music to my ears in that earlier today. You know, we're all waiting with bated breath, weren't we? Rumours left, right and centre. But yeah, he's signed and couldn't be happier.
That's it. Well, we saw the news earlier today, about 6 hours ago, that obviously Danny Rule has signed a contract till 2027. So, I mean, that's the reason for this. We're all on it. We're here to talk about our thoughts on it. I did say on Twitter earlier we're going to have some special guests. Look, I ain't no booking agent and everything, but I tell you what, I think this could be one of the best. It's only Gaz Robinson, isn't it?
Oh,
Look at this. Oh, Vera Duckworth herself. So, Gaz, go on. You can go first. I'm going to get these guys' thoughts, but how are you feeling today, mate?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed there's a child in camera because he's took away 40% of my material.
Mate, just go for it. Just go for it.
Stevie, I'm joking.
Your father's daughter.
I'm absolutely over the moon. God, how'd you put it into words? Like, with Dad and Mom, we went from elation to frustration. And today I've gone from celebration to masturbation because it's driving me wild.
How can you say, how can you put it into words and be lost for words, mate? I don't know that. John, what do you think then? Go on, you give me your thoughts, initial thoughts on Danny Rule today.
Yeah, just brilliant by chance here. He's had his knockers, but this is an absolute masterstroke to get this guy to sign for 3 years. He's obviously, you know, said give him like assurances about budgets and recruitment and stuff like that. So Danny's, I think my favourite thing was how Danny said, you know, how much he loves the fans and he's stuck to the fans and he feels part of the club and wants to continue his journey with us and further his CV with us rather than, you know, going to another club. I know there are other clubs that were rumoured to be in for him, but I think Sunderland were one of them. So, I mean, I think we've done really well there to fight off competition. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Couldn't be happier.
Stevie, go on then. Let's hear your initial thoughts. I know it's obvious, but just put it into words, mate.
No, it's good. Do you know what? I was thinking about it earlier on, and if you go back a year, we've come out the playoffs, and then everybody was really buzzing, and then obviously you get the disappointment of Darren Moore moving on, and you know the uncertainty and not knowing what was going to happen, and then you get Chisco in, and you try and bury your head into the fact that he's had a promotion under his belt, and then we had just 4 months of absolute horrendous football. Nothing going there. We've managed to get a manager in, you know, Danny Rule's come in without any sort of fanfare or anything like that. We knew what he came with, but, you know, he'd got no proven track record. And I can remember being at Watford. We were at Watford, weren't we, Ash? And, you know, that first game, it was absolutely, you could see night and day straight away. He was going to bring us something different. The job that he's done over the last 9-10 months has been absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot believe how well he's done.
I think everyone, Wednesday fans, were willing and waiting for obviously the news to come out. Gaz, it was going to happen, weren't it? Is there any thought in the back of your mind that obviously there's a manager job come up every week, hasn't there? In the last few weeks, every day sometimes. But just on that, the rumours and things, were you confident that he was going to sign?
No, because I'm a Wednesday high, and there's that element of it's going to happen again. His stock will possibly never be as high unless he takes us to Premier League. What he did was miraculous, mate. And if it were me, take the Wednesday thing out of the equation, I was looking at it thinking it's a perfect time for him to while he's in the limelight, to move on and better his career. What it's shown with Danny is the amount of loyalty, I think, that he appreciates what we've done as much as what we appreciate what he's done. He just wants things to be better. We all want things to be better. Put some chicken in Chicken Shack. You know what I mean? It's like we just want things to be better, mate. And I've been scathing a chance today. Honestly, but you've got to be balanced in life. And on this one, he's done all right. He's pulled it off, mate. I mean, what he's promised him and what he delivers, we'll have to wait and see. That's another matter. But as it stands at the minute, reading on what we've got a manager that everybody wants. And can you tell me last time we had a manager everybody wants?
Big Ron, probably.
Holy.
Well, I've got obviously a couple of quotes from Danny's press release, and he did say he's delighted to extend his contract with Sheffield Wednesday. Fantastic club that's taken me to heart, and I feel exactly the same way. It was never in my mind to be anywhere else but Hillsborough. I feel at home here. The fans have been incredible. They've shown myself, my staff, nothing but kindness since the first day. Pitch perfect, that, weren't it? What a statement to come out with.
Amazing.
The best thing about that is that what he's done is he's automatically endeared himself to the fan base. You know, he's come in and he's gone, right, I never wanted to go anywhere else. This is a project. In a way, it felt to me like with the bits that I've read, and I know I've been at work since it's all come out, it felt to me like he wanted to say, right, this isn't perfect, but you need to know that I'm here, and I'm going to give it a go for as long as I'm here, and we're going to try and make a change here. And let's be right, we all know somebody who knows somebody who knows something. And the noises coming out of the club is that this is a guy who's going to stand up to Chansiri, and he's got the skill set and the CV behind him to say, right, I will tell you what I want to do rather than be dictated to by the chairman. And I think that's something that's coming to pass at the minute. He is bringing in his management team. He is the guy that's bringing in, and I think there will be changes to the training setup, the academy setup, what's going on beneath the first team. I think there'll be a change to the infrastructure of what's going on. I don't think Danny Rule is staying for, you know, the status that he was at last season. I think he's here to make a change, whether that be a 6-8 months and it not happen, whether it be a year or 2 years, whether it be 5 years, whatever it is. We have potentially got something here that I think is absolutely fantastic.
John, what do you think? What do you think to that? I mean, with just to the statement and what Stevie's just said, I mean, it can only be good news for the rest of the summer. I mean, we've started off fantastic. Obviously, it's the announcement that everybody wanted. It's the signing that 99.9% people wanted. I know we need a striker. I know we need centre half. I know we need, but to start off, Danny Rule, we know where we are now, and I'm just excited to see what else comes this summer.
Yeah, it's the biggest signing of the summer already, and to get it done so early, so he can focus on his targets and knowing what budget he's going to have through the discussions he's had with Chansiri, he can hit the ground running. We can start looking at what those targets will be. I know that some people are hoping that Hansi Flick gets the Barca job because they're good friends, and you know we're putting 2 and 2 together, thinking we might get some Barcelona loans, which would be incredible. But yeah, I mean, he's just attacking the summer early. You know, how many times are Wednesday just falling behind? You know, they get players in late, they get managers in late, and you're on the back foot, aren't you, at the start of a new season and playing catch up, and we can't be afford to do that. So to get it done so early allows us time to focus now on getting the right players in. I think Danny said he wants to target top 10, which is obviously a massive leap from last season. So he's got ambitions there as well. So yeah, it's exciting, and can't wait to see what sort of signings we're going to make now.
Gaz, you mentioned earlier Chansiri. Has he turned a corner, or do you think Owls in the Park's coming back this summer? We believe. So do you think it'll be shirts at 95 quid? Look, you wanted the manager, you've got to pay for him type of job, you know, give and take? Or do you think he actually is? It's going to be a long road back for him for a lot of fans. So what do you think? He's gone in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, it's never linear, is it? It's never linear. I don't know, mate. I'd like to think that if he can listen to what we need and what we want in respect to Danny, he might. It's an how long the piece of string. You never know. You can't predict him. He's like my missus. Honestly, he is so unpredictable. Like 1 minute you're best thing since sliced bread, and next minute you're on your mum's settee. So, I mean, I can only hope, mate. I really hope we can be better. Just be a little bit better. Danny will bring. He will bring us on as a team. Now I'm just hoping that him and Deshpon can bring us on as a club as well. It's two separate things, mate. There's getting better as a team and there's getting better as a club. One thing I want to touch on with Danny though, just quickly, is like now he's going on ITV, doing his little. I can't wait for that. That isn't that going to be good? That it's like watching your kid do a panto. Well, like, me sat there with no pants. Oh, I might have pants on. But yeah, I think like he's going to be on with Ange. We're already after Matty Craig allegedly, who were at Doncaster.
Yeah,
it can only strengthen bonds, and the higher his profile gets, if people listen to him and know that he's not a numpty, which he's not, we know he's not, and we know he's not skilled. That can only benefit us as a team, as a club. That's down to you, Mr. Chansiri. You want these protests to go away and all that, which I think they'll side a little bit away. But you want all that to go away, just be a little bit better. We're not asking for the world. Just be better.
5% in all areas, and that's the right step in the right direction. And I mean, I know we're not talking about the 1867 group, but they have put a statement out and everything, but they're still going to be there. But I think this with the fans, this is what the fans have called for. And the start of the 24-25 season, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't speak for everyone on the pod, it could not have started any better. It really couldn't. Gaz, any final words you want? I'm sure that everyone's going to be wanting a song from you in the next few weeks or something, because you are a bit of a lyrical genius. So I'm hoping there's a challenge for you. There's a challenge for you to lay one down.
Ash, I'm 41 years old, right? There comes a point in life where.
Am I older than you? Jesus. I'm 43, mate.
Well, you look older than a cask of ale, to be fair. Do you know what? I just love dicking about and following my team. Like, if anybody ever gets offended by me on Twitter, it's not my intention. I'm just a bit. That's my outlet. I have to be very serious in life, apart from when I'm on here. Well, no, this is not Twitter, but you know what I mean. Apart from when I'm doing this, and there'll be some songs, there'll be some pillicking about and stuff. Yeah, John, have I met you before? I'm sure I've sat on a couch like that before.
I'm not sure.
I've watched some.
Oh, no.
But no, I don't think so.
Gaz, as always, it's a pleasure, and we're definitely going to get you on again this season, mate. Go steady. I know you're working tonight, so don't work too hard, mate.
Cheers for that, Ash. Let's announce it.
Cheers, mate.
Mr. Gaff watching, I've come home for the toilet.
Oh, there's only, what is it? I don't know, 20 people watching, mate, so you're all right.
Oh yeah, guaranteed one of them will be getting me sacked. Right.
Right. Good steady, son. See you later.
Yeah, everybody. See you later.
Cheers,
See
mate.
you
Bye.
guys.
Look, it doesn't stop there. I mean, we're full of guests, so here's another one for you. Simon,
Who's this guy?
Simon, North Yorkshire Owls, welcome to the party.
Good evening.
How are we?
Full German kit on as well.
Got my German kit. I got my German art. I've got my stuff behind me. I've got my German tankard that I acquired when I went to Munich. I didn't steal it, honest.
Si, honest opinions. What's your thoughts from 6 hours ago when the worst secret in the last 24 hours probably has come out that Danny Rule signed a 3-year contract? What's your thoughts, mate?
Honestly, it's best news. It's the best news that we could have had this summer, and it's just happened so quickly. Normally, with Wednesday, it's like lastminute.com, but I'm just absolutely buzzing because how that bloke has transformed the team and the supporters from where we were when, well, I'm not even going to say his name, but, you know, the Paella Pulis, let's just call him that. But when he left to how we are now, when Danny's saved us, it's just unbelievable. It's just the best news. It's honestly the best news that we could have had.
So it's a great start to the bank holiday and a great start to the summer, isn't it?
Oh, defo.
Stevie, obviously we're going to be looking now at what's going to be happening in the next few weeks, probably a month or two. We've got to trust, we've talked about it on the podcast, and we've got to trust what Danny's up to. And I think the next thing for Wednesday fans will be looking at the contracts that have been offered to the players that they've surely have got to be waiting for this day to make their decision. Am I right?
I would say so. This hasn't happened overnight, has it? And, you know, there will have been irons in the fire from, you know, the moment we knew we were staying up, and the retained list and the release list and the people that have been the options that have been exercised. They've happened surely now. Now that we know that this has happened, they've been implemented based on Rule signing a contract. So I would expect, and I know we talked about it on Monday about who will sign, who won't. I maintain the only one that I'm not 100% certain will sign is Bernard. I still tonight, a week later, I still think Bernard might be a little bit out of our league, if I'm honest, based on age, profile, potential. But the rest of them, Bannon, Palmer, Windass, we've offered those guys contracts. I fully expect them to sign. I think I think that's a positive. I think Rule, if he's offered those contracts out, knows that he can work with those players, and it's about what he can do to supplement the spine, and that's almost is like a spine of a squad, isn't it? Even including the much maligned Dawson, if we can keep him. We've got players going all the way down the sort of middle of the team there that we can build around, and we can, you know, use those players. And some of them might be bit part players to an extent, and some of them might, you know, not get the amount of game time that they've had over the last couple of seasons. But I still think they'll be absolutely integral to what we're doing next year. And I'm really excited about the next month and the amount of business that we're going to be looking to do in the transfer market. And with Rule, and I know people are a little bit reluctant to have him on ITV, and they're sort of nervous about him having his profile raised. I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. I think if people are looking at that from other clubs, and maybe even clubs on the continent, this is a man that we can do business with in terms of getting some of our younger players over to Sheffield Wednesday and, you know, put them, you know, on a pitch and get them some game time. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Just on about Bernard though, if he's a young player, there couldn't be any better place for him, could there really? You know, with Danny how he is and how he plays and stuff like that, and we're going to have I think we're going to have a big focus on us next year, and I think it could be just the spotlight that somebody like Bernard needs, really, rather than going to another club and just being a bit part player. It could be something. Could be something.
I totally agree with you, Si. I genuinely agree with you. I worry that he might have had his head turned too soon, and it might have happened when things weren't great, and there might have been some agent activity, and there might have been some bits that are going on where they've sort of gone, this ain't great, and you might very well be right, and it might be that the signing or Danny Rule signing a contract becomes an anchor, and this is a signal of intent that this is no longer that club that everybody kind of, if you know what you know about Sheffield Wednesday, we've not been great, we've been volatile, we've had points deductions, we've had a chairman that's spunked a lot of money up the wall, the stadium ain't great, everything that you talk about us isn't necessarily the best, is it? But this feels like a turn. It feels like a change in the wind, doesn't it? And hopefully that comes to pass. And as I said, I'm not necessarily sure that he'll stay, but if he does, that's a massive signal of intent, and that's a massive deal for us, because him marshalling our back line with another addition to our midfield, and if we could do a little bit of business and maybe bring Ugbo and or Pervader in, my God, we've got some bits to go out there, haven't we?
I think that kind of an exciting proposition for people as well. Like players that are going out on. You think back years ago when we had Joss and Tony Pulis and stuff like that, nobody would want to play for us. But when the players have seen what Danny's done towards the end of the season and stuff like that, I think players will be like, I want to go and play for this bloke. He's
definitely raised the profile of himself and the club as well. I think he's done both there. And if there is any slim chance of getting Bernard, then I think he's being strengthened by retaining Danny for sure. You'll know all about him. He's, as Steve said, players have come here on loans and they've bettered themselves. I mean, Ugbo had a spell at Cardiff, but didn't pull any trees up, did he? He's come to Wednesday and he's been fantastic for us. And I think they want to bring him back, as we spoke about earlier. I think one thing that I hope does change as well, though, is this. One of the conditions of re-signing Danny, I hope that he's not still like booking hotel rooms for the away trips and stuff like that. I think he needs a bit more help in that department, because Lane focus solely on first team duties really on the pitch. I'm sure that'll be one of the things.
I think that will have been a condition of him coming in, that he will have met with the chairman when they're having their talks. I think what you're seeing there, and I know we might be going over it, but Rule has come in and gone, what the bloody hell is going on here? The accommodation's not right, the transport's not right, the timing's not right. This is what I want. I want it here. Right, I've dragged it through to the end of the season. Right, DC, this was what was going wrong. I don't need to be worrying myself about this stuff. We're going to get somebody in to come and do this, and we're going to do it. And if I'm signing a contract, that will be taken care of, so I can concentrate on that. So I'm optimistic that we'll be in a situation where we can rely on, or we'll expect to see that there's going to be some sea changes in that sort of committee level of the club.
I think I've got Russell Howe here. He's put, and Gaz touched on it earlier. Fair play to Chansiri, who had even heard of Rule, which is not quite a thing. He was at Southampton, being German, but as a thing. So, I mean, props to the owner side for this little step, because he has had on numerous occasions, and fair enough that the hassle that he's had and warranted a lot of the times. But if you were going to give it with one stick, we can take it with it. Do you know what I mean? He's got to get a bit of positivity when he's done something, and you've got to on this occasion, haven't you, to the owner?
100%. I mean, as you know, my Twitter account there's a lot of German content on go over every year with the lads and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I had to go. I'd not heard, and you just think, right, it is a bold move to put somebody in that was so young. He's younger than Barry Bannon, isn't he? And it's like they've got players on the pitch that is younger than. It was a bold move. What we're going to touch on as well is, now that Danny's signed, fingers crossed, because he's an absolute. I just hope that Chris Powell now signs, because his contract was up as well. I'd assume that now that Danny's signed and that he's staying on, that Chris Powell will stay on. But I think he's been instrumental as well in the development of the team since Pael Pulis left.
And he's come out and said that, hasn't he, as well? He said, yes, he's the figurehead, he's the manager, but it has been the quite small backroom staff as well, really. Yeah. It's not a massive. So I'm sure, like Stevie alluded to, there's going to be some caveats. There's going to be some wanted guarantees. Stevie, from Danny's point of view, then the owner, he really has got to back him. And I'm sure he's said something to him that's made him want to sign, because like we alluded to, his stock has never been higher from this season. So for him to commit, there has to be guarantees, hasn't there?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. You'd like to think. It's always felt, after Carlos went, it's always felt like Chansiri's been a little bit of a dictator, and I want to say that with the most, in the greatest with the greatest sensitivities. It comes across as a bit of it's a dictatorship. I have to micromanage absolutely everything. I have to have a finger in every pie. There are reasons why things haven't happened as quickly as they have, because Chansiri has to oversee absolutely everything at the club. But we've brought in a manager who has potentially turned his head to the point where, we're now in a situation where he can manage up. And I think Danny Rule is the manager that is going to be in that situation where he can now turn around and say to the chairman, this is the level of CV that I've got. I've worked at this place with these players and I've done this. And I'm at that age. You've taken a gamble. You've taken a risk on me. And you put me in, and I've shown you. And we talked about it the other night. There's no getting away from the fact that if we start the season on October, whatever it was, when Danny takes charge at Watford, we'd have finished 7th or 8th, with the squad that we've had, that he hadn't assembled. So if you imagine that we give him a full pre-season, where we would be, Chansiri has to know that this is the best thing he's ever come across. He has to know. We're not talking about a player that can get 20 goals and then move on. We're talking about a manager that can come in, and when Chansiri came, he wanted the best for the club. We all know that. He's much maligned and he's made some stupid decisions at times, but he wants the best for the club. Of course he does. He's spent a lot of money on us. We're in a situation now where he's found an asset that can help him attain what he wants to achieve. So he's got to back him, for me. And Danny Rule doesn't sign the contract that he's signing or has signed without some sort of assurance that, yes, I'm going to be backed at infrastructure level. I'm not saying, and I don't think for a second, that we're suddenly going to start spending £5-10 million. I don't. I think what we're going to see is Danny Rule being very astute in the loan market. We'll see some free agents coming in from the continent, potentially, links with Premier League clubs and, mates of mates, sort of thing, that we can go and loan players for a season, and we'll build something. And if that is the year 1 model that becomes a year 3 model, that becomes a year 5 model, if he stays on and we're consolidating mid-table in the Premier League, then that's no bad thing.
A year in football is a very long time, Simon. Just thinking back, just probably nearly a year ago, I remember getting, my phone just went mental on the Monday evening that Darren Moore got relieved of his position. The euphoric feeling we had after Wembley, it's like now we're getting to the playoff final date. It's the same sort of feeling that we're going into this summer with, and without the threat of somebody maybe derailing it, because our manager has penned 3 years. So it's got to be a great position to be in.
I've never felt so confident pre-season since the Carlos days, really. I think that, as Stevie alluded to, Danny Rule will know people, and I know jokingly that people have said that now his mate Hansi Flick has taken over at Barcelona, but we could get some kids from Barcelona's youth team coming over to us, which is just absolutely bonkers, compared to where we were 12 months ago with Cisco just scraping the barrel. I'm so optimistic for next season. I might even buy a season ticket.
Don't believe that. I do not believe that.
Christmas.
I just think that when you look at this, there's two ways of getting out of this league. You spend your way out, which we tried and failed, didn't we? Or you get yourself a good, innovative manager like Danny Rule, who's got contacts. He's worked with some of the best managers in the world, some of the best setups in the world. And so, you know, having tried when Chancery come in to do the old throw as much money as you can at it and get up, it didn't work. It set us back, and either through league constraints or the fact that he may not have got as much money as he previously had, we're unable to do that now. So what we've all said as fans in the past is look to do something different. You know, try and get a manager in that's like a visionary who can, you know, he's got methods and an ethos that'll serve us right. And that's exactly what we've done, and we've seen it work for other clubs. And we've always kind of had a manager. When we've lost a manager, like, you know, we all thought Bruce was going to take us up, and we lost him, didn't we, to Newcastle? But Danny, I think bringing Danny in is just the right path to go down. I think it's amazing that we've got somebody like him. And yeah, I'm just looking forward now to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, love him. I absolutely love him. I've not met him yet. I haven't stalked him yet. But if anybody is going to overtake Mr. Hutchinson in the Si Hodgkinson loving, I think. So yeah,
I think for me personally, I think the way he came into the club, obviously we were on his knees, and all big props to all the Wednesdayites that really got around him. I know the song helps. He's got a song, and all the players are took at the end of the season. It's just the feel good factor he's brought, and it's carried on. And yes, we survived on the last day, of course, that all helps. But I think for him going into this new season and looking like the backing that he's going to have from the owner, it's going to be a great season, isn't it, Stevie? Or the starter, it's got the beginnings of a great season.
There's a reason for optimism, isn't there? You know, and I think as we've just alluded to, I think the retained list and the contracts offered, I think that's the one, isn't it? And whatever you think about the players that are there, where we all trust this manager. So when Bannon signs, which he will, bosh. When Palmer signs, which he will, brilliant. When Windass signs, when, you know, all those players that have had the contracts offered, they'll all sign, and there will be a deal done around it where they say, right, this is going to be the foundation, whatever that looks like, you know, whether they are players that are going to carry us through into the next sort of generation or the next sort of version of what we're trying to achieve, because a lot of them will be aging. You know, that's a reason for optimism, but we will have a squad that is solidified, and it's solidified early, and then we will bring in this player and that player and that player. And I'm not expecting, as I said before, I'm not expecting £1 million transfers. I think what we might end up doing, and just on the Pervader one, I now think we might actually get Pervader. I do. And I think if it's obviously dependent on what happens on Monday, whenever the playoff final is. If Leeds go up, I think Pervader wears a Wednesday shirt next year. You know, but he will already be doing bits behind the scenes now and thinking about what I can get in, the links I've got. People will be looking at us, as we've said, and wanting to send their players to Sheffield Wednesday.
What's funny as well, Stevie, you know, like talking about players joining us and stuff like that. I just think that I can't remember a position where we've been like this, like where we're looking forward to players signing, and it doesn't matter who we sign. I think whoever Danny Role signs, people will go fair dues.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that.
Absolutely trust him. He could sign, I don't know, he could sign Robbie Savage, pull Robbie Savage out of retirement. We'd go, don't matter. Danny thinks he's good enough, so crack on, you know. And I don't think we've ever been in that position where the manager could sign any player he wanted to, and I'll go, crack on, mate. And I just don't think that there's going to be a lot of negativeness around it, because sometimes, you know, we'll sign players and you'll go on social media and people will slag it, why is he bought in, blah, 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 blah. And I just think with Danny, he could sign anybody and people will go, crack on, mate. You know what you are doing.
I also think that when you mentioned Bannon earlier, yes, I know he's getting to that age in his career, but I don't think it's any coincidence that he's going for his coaching badges now. I think having worked with Danny and seeing how Danny's methods, he already spoke about him being different and better than all the other managers that he's worked under. And I think he wants to go and get those badges, and maybe, who knows if Danny is around longer than, a bit longer than we hope, that won't stand us in good stead in passing the baton on in coaching sense down the line to somebody like Bannon, or who could be like start off on the youth team and work his way up. So he's obviously got that influence, hasn't he, Danny? And for a young man, he's got a very old head on his shoulders, hasn't he? And he does seem to rub off on players and fellow coaches as well. They all speak so highly of him. It's terrific to have him back. It really is.
Can I just ask one question? Is this a dream that we've got?
What, that you're on our podcast with us three handsome fellas?
No, not that.
Oh.
This manager in our club that's just mint. You know what I mean? He's good looking for starters. He's got a cool hairdo. It doesn't go all over its shop when blowing, and he's just the best manager. And it's just like it's not the Wednesday. It is not the Wednesday way, is it?
I haven't got the little hearts that flutter around somebody on this. Sorry, Si, I'd have put them on fire there, mate. All starry-eyed there.
Who's Sam Hutchinson anyway?
But mate, Stevie will be saying it about Palmer later. He's already dropped him, hasn't he? So this news for Danny Rule staying is he'll be moving on to Danny. Guys, it was only a quick one just to get our initial thoughts on the fantastic news that Danny Rule is staying at Sheffield Wednesday. Any other business quickly? Anyone want to say anything before we leave? Because let everyone who's watching get back to their cups of tea, beer or pop. So any other business, anybody?
No. The only thing I would say is that I'm really happy that I'm not on the main pod on Monday night because we've just covered it all.
Hey, no, none of us are on, so they can go all over it again, and everyone watching can see the thoughts of everybody else off the podcast.
When we drag Dan up in about an hour, and he goes, "What's happened?" and he's got to cover that all again.
We've had the guess.
Wouldn't leave because I've got a spare tenner in my wallet.
What was that, Simon? Sorry, cut out there a second. Sorry.
What are odds to leave season? By about 10 points as well. What's the chances?
If you'd asked me that earlier, I'd have got it straight up. Let's have a look. I don't know. I'll post it later, or somebody will put it on there.
But sod it, we're going to piss it.
I mean, I'm up with Danny for 10th, but there you are. There's your initial prediction. Stevie, what's your initial prediction
For next year?
Yeah, we've got weeks and weeks, and it'll change, no doubt, but
playoffs minimum.
Oh, all right, chance here, eh? John?
It's hard, isn't it? Because we've not made a single signing yet, but obviously rules massive getting him back. But so it's shot in the dark. I'll say top 10. I'll go with Danny's prediction. Hope.
Fantastic. Si, it's been a pleasure. Thank you to you and Gaz who's joined us. Welcome anytime. Everyone watching, listening, you know the score. Tweet, like, little red button on YouTube. All the algorithms love all that. So if you like the video, which a couple of you have done, thank you very much. Much appreciated. That's it. Summer's begun. Have a great bank holiday.
Let the good times roll.
And I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much, everyone.
See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. I normally just turn up and phone it in.
I'm a little bit older than you.
Like
That zero's gone. That goose egg's gone.
Also featuring player interviews. It's Mr. Lee Bullen, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. John Hart's, ladies and gentlemen. It's Captain Fantastic once again. It's Mr. Glenn Lubens.
Oh, it's Mr. David Stockdale joining us this evening.
It's Mr. Lloyd Owusu, ladies and gentlemen. He's joining us live on the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Carlton Palmer. How's it going, CP? You all right? Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us next season.
Put on your podcast.